On the news tonight, Buhari campaign organization commends Buhari on efforts on insecurity so far. Governor Abiodun addresses medical practitioners, charged them of better healthcare services. 26 prisoners gain freedom as Chief Judge of Ogun State gave them amnesty. Hello, welcome to Channel 12 News, brought to you live on Nta Abeokuta, and my name is Idarisit Adido. Presidential Election Petition Court has admitted in evidence the electronically generated evidence where INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakub cleared the air that election results would not be transmitted electronically due to communication challenges. Joseph Johnson has the details.
Muhammad Buhari alleges his own son took the leave of the court to tender in evidence the compact disc and the document containing its certification. In the disc, which was played in the open court, Professor Yakubu averred that due to the identified of some parts of Nigeria not covered by any network, it would be difficult to transmit election results electronically. Professor Yakubu also identified security challenge regarding cybercrime as one of the reasons for the Commission's inability to transmit election results electronically. Counsel to the petitioners, Chris Uche-San, objected to the admissibility of the two documents, as at the time of this report, PDP and its candidate, Atiku Abubakar, have called additional 5 witnesses at the ongoing hearing of the petition. Now, this brings to 45 the witnesses the petitioners have called since the commencement of the hearing of the substantive matter. By the agreement of all counsels, the petitioners have 10 days to call their witnesses, and this Tuesday's hearing marks the 8th day.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has formally broken his silence over the recent attack in certain quarters, saying those who publicize isolated incidents of insecurity are neither patriotic nor have the interest of the country at heart. The president stated this while exchanging views with a delegation of the Buhari campaign organization on a solidarity visit. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo.
The delegation of the Buhari campaign organization, comprising the national and state executive as well as board of trustee members, was in the State House to interface with the president on the state of the nation and the best way forward. President Buhari, who appreciated their contributions towards his re-election, reassured them that the governing APC will not be disappointing.
I assure you and Nigerians that we will not relent in our efforts to secure the country from criminal activities. Those who politicize the isolated instance of insecurity are not patriotic Nigerians. This administration will use all the resources at its disposal to protect the lives and properties of all Nigerians, and not just prominent Nigerians or those who make headlines.
The federal government, he maintained, will continue on the menace of corruption as efforts are being intensified towards fulfilling the promise of lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in 10 years.
I want to reassure you that Nigeria is open for business, as no country in the world has achieved rapid economic growth without significant foreign direct investment. We are keeping currency steady and are adopting pro-business policies to encourage private sector investment. Policies put in place to support farmers and small businesses are yielding positive results, and we are determined to integrate them into the larger economy.
Both the coordinator of the Buhari Campaign Organization, Danladi Pasali, and the national grand patron, Senator Abba Ali, reassured Nigerians that the Buhari administration will indeed take Nigeria to the next level of development for a sustainable future of the country.
We are ever ready to continue supporting this administration to actualize its set objectives, policies, principles, so as to consolidate on the previous feast, as the journey to the next level of our country's development is on the right track. We shall continue to pray for you and for this country, so that you leave a legacy in this country that will never be forgotten.
Some members of the organization speak on their takeaways from the interactive session with the president.
I'm taking away from the president's promise and commitments that he is going to continue and he will not relent in his effort to provide security and welfare to Nigerians. And very sure the president will not fail the nation.
He is an excellent person. Nigeria should be very grateful to have him now as the leader driving the country. And I believe that Sky will be the starting point.
And whenever his term finishes, whoever he so wishes to continue his foundation, we are behind that person.
The Buhari Campaign Organization has proposed the establishment of Muhammadu Buhari Foundation as a deliberate attempt towards upholding and sustaining the ideals and principles of the Nigerian leader for a greater Nigeria. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA.
And moving on to legislative matters, the House of Representatives has urged the federal government to put stringent measures to address insecurity on the highways across. This followed a motion brought before it at Tuesday's plenary by Representative Isaac Adedayo from Ondo State in collaboration with 9 other members on the need to investigate the killings of Mrs. Olufunke Olakunrin along Beniore Road on Friday, the 12th July. Deliberating on the matter, members believe that the Nigerian police is being overwhelmed by the prevailing security issues across the country. The House resolved to send delegation to condole with the family, and the government of Ogun State urged the Inspector General of Police and other security agencies to fish out perpetrators and bring them to justice. The House also urged the security agencies to collaborate adequately in areas of intelligence gathering and sharing mechanism, as well as ensure closed-circuit cameras are mounted on the streets of major cities as a measure of his administration's commitments to establish primary health care centers across the 236 wards in Ogun State. Ogun State will recruit more competent health personnel and restructure the health care insurance scheme. The governor stated this while addressing the body of physicians who converged at a forum in Abeokuta. Correspondent Lukman Adefeso's report is presented in this part.
The wealth of every nation is tied to the health and well-being of its citizenry. It is in this regard that the Ogun State government is keen into provision of qualitative and affordable health care system for residents of the state. Governor Nta Abeokuta, while addressing the health personnel from the 36 states of the Federation, assured that he will adequately equip the Olabisi Onabanjo Teaching Hospital Shagamu to serve as effective referral center and also restructure the state health insurance scheme so as to make it more vibrant and accessible to all.
We will continue to strengthen our healthcare facilities to ensure a healthy citizenry with the resultant healthy manpower base for our economic program. In doing this, we are committed to the following initiatives, both in short and long terms. 1. Provision of functional primary health care centers in each of our 236 wards.
The governor, who lamented the state of health facilities in the state, explained that the state government is ready for effective and efficient collaboration with local and international organizations to develop all sectors of the state economy.
And still in Ogun State, the Ogun State government is working on 2 bills, namely public-private partnership and industrial promotion bills, to be presented to the House of Assembly for consideration. The governor, Prince Nta Abeokuta, stated this during a visit by the delegation from Nigeria Export Promotion Council, led by the executive director, Olusegun Awolowo. Correspondent Lukman Adefenso's report is presented in this package.
The Nigerian Export Promotion Council, led by the executive director, Segun Awolowo, were on familiarization visit to the governor of Ogun State, Prince Nta Abeokuta. The governor explained that Ogun State will continue to be a rallying point among all states of the Federation as he is poised to rendering services and programs that will distinguish the state economically and security-wise. He maintained that his government will eliminate issue of multiple taxation on investors so as to reduce burden on them and attract more investors.
This relationship we want it to be strengthened because we know that the next, in the shortest possible time, you begin to see further influx of people that are going to be coming to establish presence in the state, and they'll be geared towards exporting goods in the state. We also know that agriculture is something that's also dear to you. In a list of pillars, agriculture ranks high up there in terms of our pillar priorities.
The governor, who took out time to explain all his plans in agriculture, economy, security, among others, assured that the state will have collaboration with the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. The executive director, Nigerian Export Promotion Council, Segun Awolowo, also assured the governor that the agency will key into the mission of the government.
And moving on, the Ogun State government has instituted a panel of inquiry to look at the current challenges facing the state-owned Olabisi Onabanjo University Teaching Hospital. In a statement issued on behalf of the Secretary to the State Government, Mr. Tokunbo Talabi, by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Kunle Shomorin, said hospital. The committee is expected, among others, to assess the operational modalities of the hospital and ascertain its compliance with acceptable standard for medical training, research, and development. And moving on, a survivor in an attack in a community in Odeda local government area of Ogun State, where a farmer was stabbed to death, has narrated the ordeal to newsmen at the State Police Command in Abeokuta. Afolabi Lawal reports that the Commissioner of Police, CP Bashir Makama, has since condoled with the family of the deceased. Damilola Afina said he was on his phone when he heard the cry for help. On rushing to the spot, he said he saw the 3 men and the 40-year-old victim, Raouf, showing him stabbed in the throat.
After killing the other guy, he attacked me, but I was able to snatch the knife from him.
The Commissioner of Police, Bashir Makama, said, but for the quick intervention of his men, the situation could have degenerated to a major crisis.
That's why I personally went there, spoke to the leaders, spoke to the youth. If it was not properly handled, it could have gone beyond what we think would be. We thank God that it didn't go beyond the present situation.
The police also apprehended a gang of 4 persons who robbed and killed a couple in Chagam area of the state. The police boss told newsmen that 5 court members terrorizing Chagam area of the state, along with a 60-year-old man and 3 others, were also in police custody, cultivating and selling Indian hemp. The Senate has called on federal government to engage non-academic staff union of university and the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities to avert the pending strike by both unions. Correspondent Jide Johnson has stated.
The motion, moved by Senator Jibril Barrow, advised the unions to meet with the Academic Staff Union of Universities to address perceived grey areas. Senator Ayo Akinwelure drew the attention of the Senate to the murder of Funke Olukuri along Akure Road, Akure
or expressway, as the Senate urged the Inspector General of Police to intensify efforts in identifying and prosecuting the perpetrators.
26 inmates in prison formations across Ogun State have regained their freedom, with a call on them to go and say no more. The Chief Judge of Ogun State, Justice Mosumola Dikpeolu, made the pronouncement during her routine visit to Oba and Ibara prison formations in Abeokuta, the state's capital. Akim Jimo's report is hereby presented.
The routine visit of the Chief Judge of Ogun State, Justice Mosumola Dikpeolu, to prison formations across the state took her to Oba and Abeokuta prisons, where 12 inmates regained their freedom. While promising that the Ogun State judiciary will continue to do everything possible to decongest the prisons, Justice Dikpeolu noted that Oba is the only prison not congested out of the 5 prison formations across the state.
We have been trying as much as possible to decongest the prisons. We have started the prison courts, we have started intervention week, and this jail delivery exercise is going on, yet the prison is congested.
The Chief Judge, who called on the released inmates to go and say no more, speaks on the importance of a routine visit to prison formations across the state.
All the efforts we are making to decongest the prison is not really showing.